In this tutorial, we are going to learn about Academic Search Premier. Academic Search Premier is a multidisciplinary database. What that means is you can search this database for information in lots of different disciplines, math and history and economics, anthropology. You can use this for any of your classes. For this particular tutorial, we are going to do an overview where we're going to learn about how to do a basic search in Academic Search Premier. We're going to learn about what the record is, the tools menu, and how to access the full text of any article that we find. We are also going to learn about how to conduct effective searches in Academic Search Premier. So we're going to learn how to add additional keywords, use limiters, and select a field. So to get to Academic Search Premier, you need to go to the library's website and select the Articles tab. Because we know that we want to search Academic Search Premier, we can go to the Browse Database A to Z list and select Academic Search Premier. If you are off campus, remember you are going to have to log in with your library card number and PIN. So this is the Academic Search Premier database. It's not as intuitive looking as our other databases, and that's because it has a lot of search functionality. And so we're going to learn how to use all of these search features to conduct effective searches. So the first thing that we want to do is go to Advanced Search. And this gives us all of our options for searching. And because we're advanced searchers, of course, we want to access the advanced search options. But first I'm going to show you how to do just a very simple basic search. So you can go ahead and type in your topic. We are going to look at how exercise may promote school success. So the first keyword that I'm going to search for is exercise. So I'm just going to do a really basic search. So I can type in my keyword just like I would in Google and hit search. Now you will see that I got 64,000 results. So that's 64,000 articles. And there's newspaper articles, magazine articles, and journal articles in this database. We are going to click on the first result. And when you click on the first result, you're actually clicking on the title, and it brings up the record of the article. So this is what we call a record, and it gives us the bibliographic information about the article. So we're not actually looking at the article, we're just looking at the record for the article. And the record gives us the title, the authors, it gives us source information. So this is the periodical that it comes from. This one is from the Journal of Sports Medicine. It gives us the year published, volume and issue number, and page numbers. These are all very important for citation. The subject terms are the topics of the article. So this article has been tagged with the topics adaptation, aerobic exercise, analysis of variance, and so on. If we scroll down, we will see the abstract, and the abstract is the summary of the article. So this gives us an overview, and I highly recommend reading the abstract before you go ahead and jump into the full text because it will give you a good idea of whether or not the article is relevant. You will also notice on the right-hand side is a tools menu. So this helps you manage your results within the database. So you can print your article, you can email your article to yourself, you can also click on the Cite tool, and that will put this article in APA or MLA format for you. Obviously there's other citation formats as well if your professor requests a different citation format. To access the article, you are going to select PDF full text. And when you click on the PDF full text, it will bring up the entire article for you to view. And again, you have your tools menu here on the right-hand side if you would like to email or cite your article. I am now going to go back to the results list. Now that we are on the results page, you can see that, again, as I mentioned, we had 64,000 results, and that's too many results to look through. Not all of these are going to be relevant to our topic. So there are 3 tips that I'm going to give you to help you reduce your results to a more relevant batch and thus be a more efficient researcher. So the first tip is to add an additional key term, and that's a pretty basic tip. We do that all the time in Google, so most of you probably know that that is a way to narrow down your results. So we're going to go ahead and add an additional key term. Again, the topic that we are looking at is how exercise improves student success. So we are going to go ahead and type in school and hit search and see how that impacts our results. So you can see that by typing in an additional key term, we retrieved 42,000 results. So that's 20,000 results fewer than what we had before, and presumably these results are going to be a little bit more relevant. Now, it's really important to recognize that the database is not intelligent. It does not understand what your keywords are. It's merely pulling up results based on whether or not your keywords show up either in the article or the record that represents the article. So there's 42,000 articles here with the word exercise and the word school. So let's go ahead and look at these results and see if any of these appear to be relevant. So here's one: improved accuracy in 3D analysis using DLT after lens distortion correction. That does not seem very accurate. Benchmarking 3 different CFD codes, that does not seem relevant. Quality of life with laboratory measurements. None of these seem very relevant. So how do we continue to narrow these down to more relevant results? So the second tip that I'm going to give you is to select a field. So I'm going to go ahead and select the subject terms field. And essentially what that means is the database is going to search for my keywords in the subject term field. If I don't select a field, the database will search for my keywords anywhere within the article or on the record. And we can see why this is problematic by looking at the first record. So the reason why this article came up was because the word exercise in school shows up on the record. But where does it show up on the record? Well, let's go ahead and scroll down. It highlights our keywords where they show up on the record. And you can see the word school and the word exercise shows up in the author's affiliations. So this really has nothing to do with the topic of the article. This record merely came up because the word school and exercise show up in the title of the department for which this author works in. Let's go back to our results page and conduct our subject search. So let's go ahead and do this search and see how it impacts our results. So now you can see I have 1,123 results. That is significantly fewer than the 43,000 that I had in the last search. So let's go ahead and look at these results and see if they seem more relevant than the previous search that we did. So the first one is the potential and reality of physical education in controlling overweight and obesity. Now this seems really relevant because obviously physical education is a school program that focuses on exercise, so that seems relevant. Here's one about physical activity and physical education. Are longer lessons better? That definitely seems relevant. So while there are still some results that will not meet our needs, there's at least a few in here that are much more relevant than we had in our last batch. So let's go ahead and open up a record and see what actually happened when we selected the subject term field. So the reason why this result came up was because the word exercise and the word school are in the subject terms. And if you remember, the subject terms are the topics of the article. And here we go. So the word school, high school students, school administration, is showing up in the subject term field, and the word exercise is showing up in the subject term field. So you can see that it's now only pulling up articles where your topics are showing up in the designated topic field. So that's why these are a lot more relevant. It's very important that you select a field because this greatly improves your results, and it removes a lot of false hits from your search results, thus increasing the maximum amount of relevancy for your results. So the third tip that I'm going to give you is to use limiters. Let's go back to our results list. Now you have a variety of limiters here on the left-hand side, and there's more limiters in your advanced search if you click on the advanced search link. But we're just going to focus on the limiters here that are available. So if you click on any of these options, you are narrowing down your results to that particular category. So for example, if I click on academic journals, I'm going to limit my results to only academic journal articles. So I'm going to remove any newspapers or magazines, and it tells you there's 354 magazines within this result list. So if you are fairly far in your research and you have a good understanding of this topic, you might want to limit to academic journals. If you're pretty new to your concept, you might want to click on magazines. So that is one option for you. I'm going to go ahead and click on academic journal articles. I only want scholarly information. I can also narrow down by year. And I would definitely recommend doing that with education because theories are constantly changing. So I'm going to make the year 2010. So I'm going to limit to the last 5 years. So I'm removing any article that has been published before 2010. Now you can see I have 376 results. The last thing I'm going to do is select the full text box. You will notice that some of these results do not have the full text link, which means they're just citations and you don't actually have access to this particular article within this database. It's merely a citation letting you know that this article exists. So I'm going to go ahead and click the full text box and eliminate all of the results where I cannot read the full text. And now I'm down to 119. So this is a much more relevant batch of results than the 64,000 that I had started out with. I can even scroll down and continue to limit. There's a subject term option here, so I can narrow down by cases, I can narrow down by studying and teaching, I can go into the subject thesaurus terms, I can narrow down by elementary schools, I can narrow down by analysis of variance, and if you click on show more, there's even more options that will allow you to narrow down by a more specific topic. So that is also another option as well. So again, the 3 tips for searching this database effectively is adding additional key terms, selecting a field, and using your limiters.